Super Rugby Power Rankings after 10 rounds of the competition, folks. There were a couple of big upsets at the weekend, which makes the rankings a wee bit more interesting. And we have Super Round on the way down in Canterbury this week with the opening of the new stadium. So plenty to be excited about. How are we ranking the teams as the alternative to the table to see who is in form as we get to the business end? Moana, I've kind of numbered the whiteboard in a slightly more deliberate way than usual. They're in 11th. They're miles behind everyone else. They lost to the Tars in a lightning-delayed game. They conceded a late try, which gave the Tars the 4-try bonus point, the 3 tries ahead bonus point. They scored a couple through Matavao, but yeah, their time is limited with this competition as their season and their existence comes to an end. It's hard to see them getting a win between now and the end of the comp, but man, we've seen some other upsets, so it'd be nice. It'd be nice to see them, but at the moment, they are well and truly in last spot. They haven't won since round number 1. Then I got the Highlanders in 10th, who are down a couple of spots on the power rankings with that loss to the Blues. I haven't punished them that much for the loss to the Blues because it was away from home. It was a close game, and the Blues are one of the higher ranked teams, but the reason they are down is also partly because a couple of the teams who are around them in that chasing pack actually managed to pick up wins. So, yeah, their loss, the Highlanders, is the gain to some of the other teams. But to be fair, they've only won, I think, 1 game in their last 5, and that was against Moana Pasifika. So it has been rough going. Then I got the Force. The Force are, weirdly enough, the same spot as they were last week, despite the win over the Crusaders. It was a cracking game. I have got them up in the back end, but it's not enough to get them into 8th spot because of how other results went. So 9th doesn't feel right. They are 10th on the table, but I still feel like they are better value than 9th and 10th. But the numbers are just what they are. The Drua, their win over the Brumbies in Canberra, that's the main reason the Force didn't go up higher. That's a hell of a win for the Drua. They're 2 wins in a row now. They beat the Force, and now they beat the Brumbies away. Broke a very long away losing run, and in Canberra as well. So, hell of a result for them. They are up 2 spots. It was a bit of a huge upset. And, yeah, if they are going to push for the playoffs, they need to learn to win away from home. This is a big monkey off the back in that regard. Next row, which there is a little bit of a gap between, I feel like, these teams and these chasing teams, the Waratahs. Like, they got a win over Moana Pasifika, which is, again, not going to raise any eyebrows. They kind of had to labor for it for a while. Like, to be playing the bottom team at home and to have to work as hard as they did, maybe shows that they're not quite there, but they still got the bonus point which they needed. They got exactly what they needed out of that result and no more coming off the bye. So, not a big scalp, but it's a win with a bonus point. And then there's the Brumbies. The Brumbies, I've got down 3 spots. 3. That is a brutal result to be taken when you try to push for the top 3. They are 4th on the table. So to have them 6th on the power rankings is a big difference because in reality they are pushing for the top 3. The power rankings would suggest they are, just flirting with the teams who are just outside the playoffs. But the recent record's just not that great. They beat the Chiefs, which was great. Then they lost to the Tars, which was not great. Then they kind of scraped past the Highlanders, albeit away from home, but still one of the bottom sides. And now they've lost to the Drua at home. So the form is not fantastic. I think it's fair enough on the power rankings. Maybe they could be a little bit higher, but it's not been plain sailing for the Brumbies, put it that way. To be losing to one of the bottom sides who never win away from home in the manner they did is really disappointing, and they just played poorly. They just dropped so much ball. It was crazy. Then I got the Reds, who are up because the Brumbies lost. The Reds were on the bye. So the Brumbies loss is the Reds gain. Then the Crusaders, who weirdly enough are also up 1 spot, mainly because the Brumbies have dropped more in the power rankings than they did. They've both dropped. They've both dropped in the back end, but the Brumbies loss was worse. The Brumbies were at home. At least the Crusaders were away. So the Crusaders are 2 losses in a row. It's not great for them, but they go back to Super Round next. Their new stadium should be a reason for them to, I don't know, galvanise and make a push at the business end of the season. Then I got my Blues, and I've put a pretty big gap between 2 and 3 on the whiteboard because it still feels like there's a big gap between the Blues and the top 2 sides. Like, they beat the Highlanders, but they conceded 40 points and were put under a lot of pressure. They were not, like, they were in a position to just see the game out comfortably and ended up making it a squeaky bum finish, which is not what you feel like a championship side does. So it doesn't feel like the Blues are up there with the top 2 just yet, but they're all right. They're all right. They're up 1 spot on the power rankings. Then the Canes. The Canes have dropped 1 with that extra time loss to the Chiefs. They were on a great winning run. It's in their 2nd loss of the season. It took until extra time to be defeated, but they were defeated nonetheless. The Chiefs were the ones who got the win. So the Chiefs take top spot on the power rankings. It was a magnificent game between both sides, and it feels like it was a final, doesn't it? Could well be a preview of this season's Super Rugby final. They are certainly the form sides, but man, you never know. There's been other seasons when someone has been seemingly flying high and been knocked out. Just last season, you know, you've seen the season before, I think. Top qualifier ends up losing a knockout match, so it happens. Nothing is guaranteed, but that is the way things are looking after 10 rounds of the comp. We look forward to this new stadium this week down in Canterbury. You guys let us know your thoughts on the rankings. Take care, and I'll talk to you guys again soon. See you later.